Rachel Zegler is toxic to any project she touches because she is just so hated within Hollywood right now. And even though it doesn't seem a lot of people are excited for the live action Snow White, we are quickly approaching the release date at the beginning of 2025. And it seems that the budget for this movie has reportedly exploded to over $500 million. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, Rachel Zegler is extremely disliked. She's someone who constantly talks about how she doesn't really care for the source material when it comes to projects she works on. She just doesn't care about the fans and the viewers that she needs in order to have a successful career. But now we're hearing that apparently, because of all of the reshoots and all of the editing, this movie's budget has exploded to over $500 million. This is a That Park Place article. It says the budget for the Walt Disney Company's live-action Snow White film starring Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot is rumored to have exploded to over $500 million. This is a movie that never needed to be made because while Disney has made some pretty good live action adaptations like Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, of course, Aladdin. I mean, there's been a couple at this point. We have seen a lot of major fails like Mulan, The Little Mermaid, and I don't think that Snow White is going to be in that successful category. There are a lot of people who love Snow White, but she has really ruined the image of this film, along with a lot of the decisions Disney has made that she doesn't even have anything to do with, like removing the dwarves and then deciding to put the dwarves back in, but they're CGI dwarves, and they took jobs away from people. I mean, it's just absurd at the end of the day, but it just doesn't seem like all of the decisions they've made have really panned out and led to what people think is going to be a successful movie. People think this is going to fail. It says WDW Pro shared two of the major problems that Disney is attempting to fix. First, he noted, the dwarfs have been roundly mocked, and they have been mocked at the level of the original Sonic the Hedgehog model in the film. Of course, Sega and Paramount went back to work and redid the entire model, redid the entire film to make the character look like it does in the video games, and this is true. All people want are CGI characters that look half decent, and when they originally said they were removing the dwarfs and they were putting in the 7 magical creatures or 7 magical companions, we had no idea what that meant. And then we saw leaked images from the set of them just basically adding in 7 Seattle homeless bandits. Like, they looked terrible. And now they have these CGI characters who, oddly enough, are just as tall as Snow White. It just really does not make any sense as to what they are doing. And I don't think that they are going to massively change these designs at this point. I do think that they will probably edit them a little bit more, though I don't see them taking that footage out and reshooting again and casting, dwarfs. I don't see them doing that. At least from what we've seen with the first teaser, which was released, months after we heard that this was undergoing major reshoots. Like, as far as we're aware, those reshoots are done. It says, and the other thing is apparently they're trying to still adjust the color palette, the atmospherics of the movie to make it brighter and more lighthearted and make it more child-friendly. It was deemed a little too dark, and yeah, the teaser that we saw did make it seem pretty, like, dark and ominous, which I think can fit, but only for a certain portion of the movie. I don't think that the entire film can be that way. Now, of course, I don't think that this movie needed to be made in totality, but they could have at least tried to do a half decent job. It says the big story about all this is that Disney apparently is trying to get this movie ready to go on the cheap, and the reason it might be done on the cheap is because they've already done 3 rounds of reshoots. I mean, at this point, yeah, the movie's budget would have to be above at least 400 million, because initially we heard it had 300 million, and that was before doing all of these reshoots. Of course, reshoots, if they're, shorter stints, can be cheaper, but with hearing that they did major reworks, it just doesn't seem like that is the case. But unfortunately for them, I do not see a way in which this movie could be successful. They could change all of the costumes, they could change the atmospherics and the lighting, they could slightly edit the seven dwarf magical companions, whatever they want to call them, but at the end of the day, this film still has major issues, like the fact that Gal Gadot is the evil queen who apparently is supposed to be jealous of Snow White's beauty. That's absurd. We, of course, have Rachel Zegler, who is extremely controversial. And it just doesn't seem like the writing is very cohesive from what we understand from early screenings, It tested poorly, and it was a mess, and it was wildly different from the original film. I don't see at this point them fixing all of the issues that we have, all of the elements that have been criticized. And I have no faith in Disney in totality. Yes, again, they have made some pretty good live action adaptations, but at the end of the day, those are in the past. We're talking about movies from 5, 6, 7 years ago at this point. We're not talking about, oh, they had one failure with The Little Mermaid and then the live action before that was good. No, we've had Mulan, we've had The Little Mermaid, we're having Snow White. It just doesn't look like this is going to be the money maker they expect. And yes, I think that this is going to definitely make some money because of name recognition, right? That's why they're doing live action adaptations and remakes and reboots, because they know so many people know the name Snow White. There are tons of kids that are going to want to go see it. There are Disney adults who have love and nostalgia for this character that are going to want to go and see it. But I do think that there are so many people that are aware of all of the problems and the blatant disrespect for the original material on Disney's side, but also Rachel Zegler's side. She said that the prince was weird and he was creepy. We know that they've removed a lot of the romance. These are not things that are conducive to a successful product. So we still have a couple of months to go, because this is supposed to release in March. Keep in mind, it was delayed by a year, so it was supposed to come out in March 2024. Now it's coming out in March 2025, and they could also continue to push it back. They think that by delaying it, they are going to get people to, show up in droves to watch it, as if people are going to forget the controversy, but that certainly is not going to happen. So they have a rocky road ahead, and reportedly, the budget has ballooned to over $500 million, which isn't really surprising given how many years it's been, the cast they have, all of the reshoots and all of the rewrites. So it does seem extremely likely. Though right now, Disney is looking down the barrel of another $500 million disaster. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.